As always, I am the Pied Piper, and today I would like to discuss my nephew's box I just bought him. My Z-Box burned up in my bedroom, so I stole the reserve I had that he was using in his room. And a teenager without movies or music, sad, sad day. Anyway, I pulled together some funds and started looking for a cheap Windows alternative because when I bought the Z-Box was around $460 bare bones, and then you buy the parts and put it in. All together is around $460 to $480. To have one of them burn up was definitely unintentional, unintended, and drastic. I did not like losing that box. It was one of my favorite. I have two of them, by the way. One's still working just fine. So I stuffed a little coin in my pocket and went looking for my nephew so that the whining may stop. He's a good kid, but he likes watching stuff at night. So anyway, I went looking on Geek Buying and I scrolled around, and I didn't want anything Windows with 2 gigs of RAM. I've seen a bunch of those crap tablets, didn't want any of that. Saw a bunch of devices that had 32 gig storage, SSD, really wanted a little more than that. So anyway, I went and I stopped over at Geek Buying, and I ended up looking through their new TV boxes, and they had the vork, VORK V1. It's kind of big for the small form factor boxes here, but here it is. It's the vork V1. As you can see here on the front, you got 2 USB 2.0s. Let's see if I can get that to focus a little better. And you got an SD card and a power button. On the sides here, you've got fan control, because there is a fan inside for cooling. This bottom, it's got here's one of the cool parts. It has a 32 gig SSD, but if you have any kind of other hard drive, oh, I got to remove screws. Okay, I'm not doing that. But underneath that, if you take out 2 of those screws and you use your thumbs and you move it, this whole piece slides down and off, and you can put another SSD drive in, or a 2.5-inch laptop hard drive. So you're not stuck with the 32 gig. You could put an SD card in the front to fix that. You could also, put a hard drive underneath. On the back here, you've got an 8 power. Dang it. There we go, people. You got a power, you got an HDMI, you got a VGA, you got an Ethernet, 2 USB 3.0s, and you've got your microphone, or nope, headset out. Now, you can take the bottom off without a problem. And you can insert another hard drive in there and slap it up and everything. But if you take the bottom off and then you get a credit card or something and you go around the top side of here on these lips, you can pull this apart. And it's not too exciting under the hood there, but what I pulled it apart for was to add more RAM. The vork V1 has a Celeron J3160, a quad-core processor. It operates at 1.6 to 2.24 gigahertz. Under the hood, it packs 2 megabytes of L2 cache, TDP of 6 watts, and it's got Intel HD 400 graphics. It comes with 4 gigs of RAM, and it comes with 64 gig SSD. Both are expandable. So I opened the top to try to get at the RAM slot. I wanted to put the Kingston RAM that did not work in my Dell that I pulled out of my Z-Box. So I had the Kingston 8 gig chip, took it apart, put it in, was not compatible. Was not. But for my nephew's room, I really didn't need the 8 gigs in it, but I was going to put it in there anyway, but ended up not needing it. This is very close to a Core i3 with 4 gigs of RAM. Even though it's a Celeron quad core 1.2 or 1.6 to 2.2, it works pretty snappy, pretty good. It'll do full Blu-rays. It's got dual band AC Wi-Fi. Real good Wi-Fi signal. This is upstairs. My Wi-Fi's downstairs. So all that's worked really well. Taking the top off is kind of a pain in the butt, because you do need to use a tool to slide in there. And then when you pop it off, This button here, the power button, is attached to cables that come down. So just be careful when you pop it off. Don't rip it off. But make sure your RAM is compatible too. I could not find a spreadsheet saying what kind of RAM to use or anything like that. But I tried the Kingston. It did not work. So you can put a 2.5-inch hard drive in this, another SSD drive. It's got 64 gigs of storage, 4 gigs of RAM. For the price, I paid quite a bit for my Z-Box, like 480 bucks. From the Dell, the quad core that I just replaced and put in my room when my nephew went without one. This was $155. It was $160 total coming from Geek Buying. It came, what was the shipper? DHL, and it was here in 10 days. Everything works good on it. The fan on the inside may have to be replaced eventually, or a different type of heat sink setup. It doesn't overheat or anything like that. The fan is not audible, but if you ever have it at a tilt, one of the bearings will get dry and then it will make noise. Make sure it's flat. But the fan screws down onto the heat plate and it blows over the fins. That can be replaced. But it is quiet. It doesn't kick on unless it's, under heavy load, and it doesn't stay on very long. So if you're in for a home theater setup, this is nice. If you want no fan noise at all, ever coming from anywhere, this probably isn't for you either. But for the price points, it's just amazing. When I bought my Z-Box, it was almost 500 bucks. The Dell was a little over 200. This was 160. And the next one I'm going to show you may blow your mind a little bit. But, so, quad core, all that nice stuff. The vork V1. Now, with the vork, with the HD 400 graphics, you can play any emulator, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega, all that stuff. And any game off of the Microsoft Store. That will work as well. Haven't been in the market for a box in a long time. But my Z-Box burn up. Totally not fixable. Couldn't do it. So I bought me a few items, and I'm just glad that you tuned in to check this out. I hope this helps in some way. I'm not showing the power cables and stuff like that because that's negligible. It's real easy to find the power port and to plug it in and all that. But overall, the vork V1 with Windows 10 is nice. Now, I hate Windows 10. I'd rather have Windows 8.1. I tried to, through USB, through the Microsoft Creation Tool, I tried to install 8.1 on here. Once you get to where you have to delete or reformat the partitions on the drive to start your install, it gives me an MBR/GPT error. I don't know why. Maybe it's a BIOS setting, maybe not. But I didn't want to brick this little thing, so I just left the Windows 10 on it. I do not like Windows 10. But Windows 10 works very smoothly on it. Web pages load quick. The pictures load. It's just a really nice little setup there, especially for a very inexpensive thing. You want to just slap something on your TV. You want to make it a smart TV or more. Have Kodi on it. Kodi's very important. It even kept up with Silverlight. Believe it or not, it even kept up with Silverlight. Minor jitter. I mean, almost not noticeable at all. But if you get the Netflix app from the store, then you have no problems. The app works great, phenomenal. I even watched Amazon Prime on it, and no jitters or judders there at not 4K, excuse me, at 1080p. So I believe that leaves us. And it leaves me at a disadvantage. I only have one more video to do. This has been fun. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun. I am the Pied Piper. I hope you guys have a wonderful day.